Welcome everyone to Plumbing School Quick Fix Inspection. And today we're looking at quite a textbook example of a home where pretty much everything was done incorrectly. Let's start in the basement. Looking in the basement here, this is quite an older home that had an addition put in. We can see here that we've got the requisite 4-inch building drain, which is actually encased in the foundation. So what they did was keep the original cast iron. There's our requisite clean out that serves the building drain before it exits the building. That's fine. Now we've got 3-inch that's coming up, and ultimately this 3-inch horizontal branch is pretty much picking up all the plumbing in this building or in this house. So this first branch that we see coming off is an 1.5-inch drainage line that's picking up. Fortunately, they ended up putting a clean out, picking up the kitchen sink. And here's where we see our first issue. This isn't likely the plumber, but this is probably the HVAC guy who ended up installing a little condensate pump. He had nowhere to put it, and so lo and behold, he ended up putting it right here on the 1.5-inch line, wherever he found the opportunity to do so. This is illegal for several reasons. First of all, anytime you're conveying drainage, it should not be a sanitary T. It should be should consist of a proper drainage fitting, namely a Y, which directs drainage properly. The other issue is this is not vented, so sewer gas is completely open to this line. So in theory, sewer gas is escaping right from here. Okay, this is why everything should be trapped. This should have been discharged right into a trap. But this is the least of our concerns. Let's move on. And we're going to follow through and look at the kitchen sink. There's our other issue. You cannot have a 90-degree elbow on its side, especially to convey sewage. On the other side of the wall, here is our kitchen fixture drain. And most people don't realize this, but you are also not allowed to have a 90-degree elbow conveying drainage from vertical to horizontal, which we have here. This then continues on along underneath the joist and makes its way and pops up into the kitchen on the first floor. If I'm to lift this up, this feels more like cast iron than it does plastic, because this is all embedded and encased in God knows what over the years. The biggest issue I find here, other than another illegal 90-degree elbow, is that if I were to put a level on this, I'm willing to bet that there's little or absolutely no slope on this line whatsoever. And the reason I know that without putting a level is that down here, this is closer to the joist than it is upstream. I've got a gap here. No gap whatsoever here. Okay, or the further we go, the less gap there is. Unless these joists are particularly crooked, odds are pretty good that there's no slope on that line. So what's going to happen over the years, as you've got solids draining through the kitchen sink, this ends up accumulating solids and ends up backing up. Grease, all that kind of stuff. Coffee grinds, you name it. Moving on, let's look at this, and we'll show you what this is serving upstairs. I just figured it's best to start in the basement. So what we're looking at here is a 90-degree elbow that's picking up a lavatory, which is has its own issues, which we'll look at in a moment. This 90-degree elbow, 1.5-inch ABS, ends up continuing. Someone did a lot of work. Whenever you see a lot of couplings here, that often means that somebody cut into it several times. There is, fortunately, a legal Y. That is a proper drainage fitting on its side. You cannot have a TY on its side to convey drainage. This is ultimately going up, over, and making its way up and picking up what was the laundry tub, or rather the washing machine. There was no laundry tub, if I recall. Or they might have been, but I think they MacGyvered or kind of jimmied it all together. Now, back to this horizontal branch. This ends up coming down. Somebody had at least the good sense to put an end clean out. Nothing wrong with that. Our problem arises when we look at this here. This is a sanitary T, or a TY, basically almost on its back. Okay, slightly on a 45-degree angle, but it's pretty much on its back. This is continuing upward and picking up, guess what? A water closet, a toilet. That's why you see those screw holes. That's fastening down the toilet flange. And And ultimately, you've got solids going down. And the reason why a TY on its back is not legal is because you've got solids coming down, smack, hitting the back of this. It's not like a Y fitting, as I showed you earlier. This is a Y fitting, okay? It conveys drainage in the direction of flow. This does not convey drainage. The only thing can have something like this on its back is if you're conveying air. You cannot convey drainage with a TY on its back, no less, especially something that's carrying solids like a toilet. This will accumulate over time and cause potential blockage. Same thing goes for what's picking up the one and only requisite 3-inch stack that's going up to open air and through the roof. This is a stack that pretty much conveys all of our plumbing, or is the stack that is required by code for every building to have. Every building shall have at least one 3-inch diameter stack that continues full size to open air. That's our 3-inch stack. Unfortunately, this 3-inch stack is not just air. It's not a vent stack. It's not a stack vent. This is actually a soil stack because, as we'll see later on the second floor, we are picking up what was supposed to be plumbed as a washroom. More on that later. So this is all getting ripped out, needless to say. Let's take a look at the next floor upstairs. All right, so here we are in the kitchen. As you can see, it's been all gutted for us to work with. Now, the issue, this was our kitchen sink drainage line, or our fixture drain in official terms. So, I don't know if you noticed or not, but we got a couple problems. This 90, by the way, if you're conveying drainage, it's legal. You are allowed to convey drainage using a 90 in direction of flow from horizontal to vertical. But this is, believe it or not, illegal if you read the code carefully, at least the Ontario Building Code. Our bigger issue is that we do not have a vent for this drain. This was coming out in some really weird contraption, which I have an image of, and I'll put it up right now so you guys can get an idea of what this looked like before it got gutted. And it was serving the kitchen for many, many years. Now, the proper way to do this is to run a vent all the way up, bring it across, over. And if we're to go up through open air, we can't really go here, okay? Can't go on the outside wall. You can, but you don't want to do that because you're gonna have to drill a great big 3.5-inch diameter hole. You're gonna have to drill it on the diagonal, and it's gonna have to terminate above the roof line. So what we need to do is run 1.5 inch vent line, up, over, across, and find another vent line. Now, let's get back to that later on, because the biggest snag right now in terms of cost effectiveness and cost savings for the customer is what to do with that vent, because that's quite a bit of drywall to be removed in order to get to a proper vent. Let's move on to the laundry room. Okay, this is that 1.5 inch line that was coming from below. Now, new code, Ontario Code 2014, requires that laundry tubs have at least a 2-inch diameter drain. Okay, so this was our standpipe that was at some point picking up the laundry tub, or rather was at some point picking up the washing machine. So we can see here, it looks like somewhere, somehow, I can't see where, but they had at least connections for hot and cold sink, but I do not see a connection for the sink itself. This, I believe, was only picking up the standpipe or the drainage line from the washing machine. Here's the other issue. This is not vented either. Okay, and those of you guys may recognize, this is what we call in the industry informally call a cheater vent. This is a real cheater vent in its truest form because this isn't even legal. The proper name is air admittance valve. But in order for it to be a legally binding air admittance valve, it must be ASSC approved. Okay, that stands for American Society of Safety Engineers. And I don't think that I see the ASSC rating here. You need to get something from the likes of Odie. I believe Sioux Chief makes one. TurboVent is another one. Those are all ASSC certified. We're going to try and eliminate this, or actually we are going to eliminate this cheater vent anyway, because we're going to have the contractor route a line up through the wall, across, and as you'll see upstairs, when we get to upstairs in a moment, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on upstairs, which we're going to actually end up using to our advantage. As for this space here, what we're going to do is install a washing machine here. Dryer is going to go up here. They want a stacked washer dryer. And we're also going to accommodate and allow for a small little sink over here. Now what's going to happen over here, to make it all nice and neat and clean, we're going to install what's called the washing machine box. Okay, that keeps everything nice and neat for hooking up the necessities for the washing machine. And we are, as I said, going to properly vent all the way up and over. Now what we have here is water closet. Look at that, formal plumbing. That's a real name for toilet, by the way, guys, just in case you're not aware, or if you haven't done basic plumbing in a number of years. And we've got issues in here as well. So what we have here is a standard two-piece washroom. Okay, so first issue, this is actually, believe it or not, has the least of our issues. We saw the plumbing for this downstairs. I thought we can leave this intact, but whoever ended up installing this left one of these Fernco couplings, which to me is equivalent to a rubber hose. So what we're going to do, because, which I think I failed to point out, the toilet downstairs is not vented. Other than it being discharged on a TY fitting on its back, it is not vented. So we're going to vent this toilet. Now, having investigated this, I learned from looking upstairs that there is a vertical so-called vent, or so to speak, a vent that's discharging upstairs, or a vent that's conveyed upstairs picking up the lavatory. So what I'm going to do is from below, we're going to change all of that nastiness that's going on, all those TYs on their back. We're going to put a drop and put a proper TY so that we can vent the toilet properly, run it below the joist space, come up through, and we're going to connect above the flood level rim of the lavatory and continue upstairs. At the same time, that's how the laundry tub and the washing machine box is going to vent as well. Another issue we have here. Let's look at our toilet. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little bit offset, ever so slightly. It's an exaggeration. It's quite offset. So this is all going to get ripped up. We've convinced the contractor to basically redo the floor over here. I'm going to come down and we're going to center the toilet. At the same time, we have an issue here. It looks like we've got a valve of some sort. It looks like a regular stop valve, what we refer to as R19 in the trade. I don't know if it got seized up or started to leak. Probably got seized up, because they do, and it's not very easy to access. So what they did, and I think it's a threaded valve, what they did, they just ended up piggybacking this Dahl R14 type valve on top of it. So I'm having the contractor open up that wall, and also we're going to fix all that up as well. So hopefully this toilet can be nice and centered, and also we're going to fix that up so that we've got a proper carpet line coming out, and it's going to look much nicer when all said and done. Now we make our way upstairs, and this is an interesting contraption. This is a very interesting area. So we walk into what's kind of like a sort of a sitting area by the window, kind of picturesque, sort of. I wish I could show you what was here before, but what used to be here before was, as you could probably tell, a lavatory, a toilet, or water closet, and there was also a bathtub here. A bathtub that had spout controls here, and they ended up putting a shower head and a shower control here on this side. Now, everything's covered up right now, but I'm going to uncover this just to show you exactly what's going on underneath and why there are potential problems with this. Well, there are definitely problems with this. This is what we have to work with. Before I do that, allow me to explain what the customer wants. So this lavatory, for lack of a better word, is going to be completely eliminated. This toilet will remain in its location, although much will be replaced and revised. This bathtub slash shower is going to be modified in that we're going to have a 42 by 42 inch custom made shower here with a standard shower control. Here, the customer wants a freestanding tub. Okay, likely 60 inches long, probably something like a Max Sachs, which I installed in their previous home. Okay, and you might ask, where's the lavatory going? Good question. The lavatory is going to go in this little space here, up the stairs, and boom. So, having just had my meeting with the contractor, we agreed that this little drawer or shelf unit, which is pretty much comprised of plywood that's been painted, has to be removed. And all of this whole portion needs to be opened up for good reason. And in a moment, I'll explain why. Let's open up the floorboards, and I'll give you a better picture of what's underneath. Right, here we are in the same and only second floor bathroom with the floorboards opened up, and this is where things get really interesting. So, for you codebook aficionados, you might notice a few things here. First of all, let's look at the lavatory. You may have noticed this early on, but look, there's our trap, and wait a minute, now it's going down. What's happening here? That, my friends, is a bona fide S-trap because there's no proper vent that is protecting this trap. What's happening? This is going down, going through the joist space, going through the floor, coming down, connecting right over there. Okay, now, if you look carefully, I'm not sure if you can see it, we've got a TY. So here's our lavatory fixture drain that has no vent. This is a TY that's actually picking up, look down, our lavatory and acting as a vent for the lavatory. Unfortunately, this is not a proper vent. Here's our lavatory vent from downstairs, coupled together with the lavatory fixture drain from upstairs, coming, making its way across the joist, and going into here. Now, we haven't even talked about the toilet yet. So, we've got this TY, or this fitting in TY, that's picking up the fixture drain for the upper lavatory and the vent for the lower lavatory. We're still going to utilize this pipe, but only for the vent from the lower lavatory, from the lower powder room, which is actually going to now be venting the toilet as well. But we're abandoning that lavatory. So, on to the water closet. This funny looking fitting over here has a 3-inch outlet. It's pretty much a TY on its back. And technically, this is a TY with a side outlet, 1.5 inch side outlet. And if it was just a TY on its back and it was only conveying air, it'd be fine. The problem is, this is conveying drainage. It's picking up the lavatory from above, which is about to be eliminated. And it's also picking up, check this out, not sure if you can see it, but it's coming up vertically, or diagonally rather, making its way under the floorboard. And there is our ventless trap for our bathtub. Or what was our bathtub. So yeah, we have another illegal trap with no vent. And there's no way you can put a proper vent here because it just shoots straight down. It goes right down into there. So therefore, plumbing code dictates that you cannot exceed greater than one pipe size diameter before connecting to a protecting vent for that trap. I would say that's a little more than one pipe size diameter. So if you remember way down in the basement, we had one requisite 3-inch pipe that was making its way upstairs from the basement. Well, there's our requisite 3-inch pipe right over there. That's what we're going to have to cut into, and we're going to have to revamp all of this so that we can pick up our new freestanding tub. We're adding a 42 by 42 inch custom made shower here. And all of this will need to be vented. And by the way, our toilet as well. Our toilet is coming from here. Technically, if this was just a toilet line going into there, and that 3-inch coming up was only a vent and didn't have the other 1.5 inches attaching to it, this would act as a proper vent for the toilet. So with a toilet, you can travel up to 3.6 meters, or approximately 12 feet, before arriving at a protecting vent, because it's got a 3-inch equivalent trap to it. So anything above here right now at the moment is only air. This is our requisite stack, our 3-inch stack that must terminate full size to open air. The problem is we have other fixtures that are discharging into it. Okay, so this, we might be able to get away with wet venting the toilet to a certain degree, if we somehow upsize this somewhere to 2-inch. But this whole thing is a mess right now. So the best thing to do is rip everything out and start over, save for that 1.5-inch vent that's coming from downstairs. What we will also need to do is whatever venting we're going to be utilizing for a shower, for a freestanding tub, for a toilet, we will need to come up. And by the way, also the venting for our powder room downstairs, the plan is to come up, come through, utilize this deep stud space, come up and over, and make our way to the side here through the stud. And where I marked here, the contractor is going to make a hole, come through, and we're going to tie in to our 3-inch vent above the flood level rim of our future lavatory. Speaking of the lavatory, how are we going to drain and vent that? Well, the way we're going to drain and vent that, it's pretty easy actually. We're going to drain and vent it, once this is all opened up, straight into here. We're going to cut our 3-inch stack. We're going to put a 3x3 by 1.5 inch TY fitting, come up and out. We're going to have to route some water lines through, bring them through the brick wall, and that will be our future lavatory. This is all a tricky job, needless to say, but stuff like this also makes it fun, makes it challenging, especially if you want to do the work right. So this is what we're up against. And by the way, in case you're wondering, the reason why there's a brick wall there is because everything you see past this point here, where the stairs begin, this is all addition. And unfortunately, the 3-inch stack falls outside into the addition, and none of the plumbing as a result, virtually none of the plumbing in this place is legal. But I promise you one thing, it soon will be. So I hope that provides you guys with some information and some insight, and hopefully you found it interesting. If you do like this video, please do subscribe, hit the like button, let me know what else you want to see, and I'll do my best to make it happen. Maybe I'll show you what this looks like when all is said and done. In the meantime, take care, have a good one, thanks for watching.